Hey guys, my name is Annie and welcome to my channel, 10 to Life, where I am bringing you full true crime cases in under 10 minutes. Full cases, start to finish, but only what you want to hear. None of the boring storylines or the empty plots. Just the key facts, the most insane details, and all the unexpected stuff we know happens along the way. I'm coming to you directly from my apartment here in Brooklyn, New York, which if you're watching the video version of this on my YouTube channel, you can see beautiful New York behind me. And if you're listening to the podcast version of this, but you want to check out the video version, feel free to head over to my YouTube channel. If you guys like what you hear, please like, comment, share, review, and don't forget to subscribe by clicking that subscribe button below. If you have any case recommendations, send them my way. I would love to hear them. And don't forget to follow me on social @_Annie Elise. So let's get into the case. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm coming to you today with a brand new update in the case of missing soldier Vanessa Guillen. And to remind you, Vanessa went missing on April 22nd from Fort Hood Military Base in Texas. Yesterday evening, authorities released a statement that they found human remains at a location near Leon River. The remains were discovered around 11:30 a.m. by a bystander who was walking nearby, smelled something funny, and walked a few steps into the field. The remains were discovered buried in a shallow grave, and they are believed to be those of Vanessa Guillen. Authorities say they had searched that same area on June 22nd and had found certain pieces of evidence that relate to the case. They had assumed she would be nearby because of these findings, but they didn't find her remains at the time. When they went to investigate the remains yesterday, they did say that in fact the location of the remains was in close proximity to the other pieces of evidence that they had gathered on their search from June 22nd. And they say the reason they didn't discover the remains sooner is because since they were buried in that shallow grave, they were so well concealed by the debris and the brush, and they believe from that point to now, animals must have gotten around there, something to expose more of what was beneath.
Human remains were found around 11:30 Tuesday morning. Major TJ Cruz with the Bell County Sheriff's Office says a man working on a nearby property found them. Tim Miller of Texas EquiSearch says they were found in a shallow grave near the Leon River. He says the grave was so well concealed the week prior, Texas Rangers and members of EquiSearch were standing on it when they found what he calls evidence of Guillen's disappearance just 3 feet away.
Shortly after the remains were found, Tim Miller made a statement saying that the search for Vanessa is now over, leading everybody to believe that it had been confirmed that these remains belong to Vanessa. And he says it's believed to be Vanessa pending further investigation and confirmation by the medical examiner's office. However, it still had not been confirmed. And then he concludes his statement by saying, of course, we have to wait for a positive identification, but we're very optimistic that it's her. I have a big problem with that because the remains have still not been formally identified. And I understand that there were other items found nearby in connection with the case, so it does definitely look like the likelihood of these remains belonging to Vanessa are pretty high. However, it still has not been confirmed. And this statement that was made sent social media into a complete frenzy of everybody posting and announcing that Vanessa's remains have been discovered, when in fact they have not. And so what if it's 99% chance that it is Vanessa? Allow her family to continue holding on to that hope and being optimistic and hoping for her safe return before the confirmation is released. Don't just jump the gun, just flooding information everywhere that it is Vanessa when it hasn't been confirmed yet. And by announcing to the world that the search for Vanessa is now over, it essentially implies that not only are you giving up, but that the world is allowed to give up, not talk about it anymore, the case is closed, she's been found, it's done, when it is not. And maybe that's the optimist in me, or maybe that's just the human decency in me. I don't know, but to me, that entire situation last night brushed me the wrong way. And I know several of you commented on my previous video saying that her remains were found in this and that, and I saw it all over Instagram and TikTok and everywhere, and it has not been confirmed, so quit spreading fake news. Shortly after that, the Army issues this statement, and I'm going to read this statement because I don't want to screw it up. Due to extensive investigative work conducted by special agents from the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command, agents have returned to an area of interest close to the Leon River in Bell County, Texas. After receiving additional information, agents have discovered what has been described as partial human remains after analysis from a forensic anthropologist. Army CID agents are currently on scene with the Texas Rangers, the FBI, and the Bell County Sheriff's Department. No confirmation as to the identity of the remains has been made at this point, and we ask for the media and public's understanding that the identification process can take time. Due to the ongoing criminal investigation, no further comments will be released at this time. So here's my problem with that. Beat it, first of all, because don't act like you guys were the ones helping and that the Army somehow discovered these remains and that, oh my God, let's give you a pat on the back because you finally did your job. No. You have been harboring information every step along the way. You have been giving false information every step along the way. So don't come in here now with your great PR media stunt trying to say, oh my God, I'm so proud of all these special agents in the criminal investigation who went and found these remains. We did such a great job. Beat it. You have not done anything except hinder this investigation, essentially prolong the discovery of Vanessa. It was also released very early this morning that a person in connection with the case had fatally shot himself last night. The Killeen Police Department says that they located the suspect at 1:30 a.m., where they attempted to make contact with the suspect, and he pulled out a gun and then turned it on himself and shot himself. The suspect immediately died from the self-inflicted gunshot wound. And when that information was released early this morning, an Army official says, we are not going to be making a statement on this at this time. Okay, so you want to make a statement on finding Vanessa's remains and give yourself that little pat on the back there, well deserved, but this entire duration of the case you haven't made any statements, and now you're not going to make any statements on the suspect who is allegedly tied to Vanessa's case. Why? Is that because he's in the Army? Which, yes it is. Sure, yes it is, and I'll get to that in a minute. This morning, just now, literally right when I started recording this video, Vanessa's family and attorney held a press conference in Washington, D.C. They released a bombshell of information.
The human remains have yet not been confirmed, but I still don't lose hope. My mother's on bed right now with pills. Why? Because they lied to our faces every single day that passed. Every single day, which is 2 months, more than 2 months. My sister Vanessa Guillen was sexually harassed, yet nothing was done to it. For her lacks of responsibility, safety, and respect, because they didn't respect my sister. They didn't keep my sister safe. They always try to cover up for each other. Why? My sister's a human too. She deserves respect. She deserves to be heard. Because if this can happen to my sister, it can happen to anyone else.
First, they announced that the remains still have yet to be confirmed as Vanessa's. However, throughout the press conference, they do allude to the fact that Vanessa is now deceased. So unfortunately, I'm sure that information will be being released soon. However, then their attorney starts getting very passionate and goes back to the day when Vanessa first disappeared. And she says how Vanessa was in that armory room and how there are supposed to be 2 people working in the armory room at all times and a third person who locks them in and out of the room to make sure that it's secure and safe. So technically there should have been 3 sets of eyes and ears that day in that room, and somehow those 2 people mysteriously are not involved or disappeared and weren't there. It's way too convenient. And when asked about the suspect who shot himself last night, she releases another bombshell of information. And she says not only are 3 people involved as suspects in this case, but that 2 of the suspects are already in custody, and 1 of the suspects is confirmed to be the one who shot himself last night, who is Aaron Robinson, who was her sergeant and her supervisor. The same one who walked in on Vanessa in that shower, the same one who's been harassing her, and the exact same one who laughed at her sister when her sister came on base and said Vanessa was missing. And the story goes that when officials had decided that they were going to confront him, he ran off base, and when they finally cornered him, that is when he pulled out the gun and he shot himself. The other 2 suspects' names have yet to be released, but my guess is they were other sergeants who were trying to protect Aaron Robinson, or they were those other 2 people who were supposed to be in the armory that day with Vanessa. And I bet you anything that will lead to the discovery of her phone or the discovery that they destroyed her phone, because they were the last ones with her. There's no doubt in my mind that if it was in fact Aaron Robinson who was harassing her as her supervisor, that he was involved. 100%, not a doubt in my mind. However, part of me can't help but speculate that now that the media is going on fire about this case and they're demanding a congressional hearing, is it possible that the military, in one more effort to cover up, found a fall guy, and that's why it's a convenient suicide, to basically pin the crime on him and maybe these other 2 suspects in custody, who knows, and, oh, I'm sorry, before he was even questioned or could be detained, he conveniently killed himself. Because I have a very hard time believing with how reluctant the military has been so far in trying to find justice and help Vanessa's family, that, oh, suddenly they found the suspect and they cornered him and he died, and oh my God, here's my statement that we found her remains. Now we were the ones who were involved in identifying the suspect. I mean, give me a break. It's all too convenient. Another thing that straight pisses me off is that during the press conference today, the family's attorney also says how she was enraged this morning and called them at 7:30 a.m. because the family had to learn about this shooting circulating through the media, they weren't even given the decency or the respect of a phone call from either the local Killeen Police Department or the Army officials. They found out about it like the rest of us found out about it. And to me, that is so incredibly disrespectful and just, again, one more sign and testament to how shady and horrible these humans are.
How do I find out information? How does this family find out information from the media before they find out from the command? What's going on? What a disrespect to this family. Can you imagine you losing your daughter and you're learning information as you go along from the media? Because the command doesn't feel like they owe this family information or facts. In fact, whenever they say anything, it's false. So how are we going to go about living like this and letting this happen not just to us but to others? Because if it happened to us, it happened to us.
And if these remains do in fact prove to be Vanessa's, first of all, that's horrible and it's awful, but at least her family will have some sense of closure and they can lay her to rest. However, I want to know, how long were her remains there? What is the level of decomposition? Because was Vanessa in fact murdered immediately following her disappearance? Or was it something that happened more recently to where if investigators had actually done their freaking job and investigated this from the start and taken it more seriously, could she have possibly been found and brought home safely and be with us to talk today? There are still so many unanswered questions, and luckily, everything is starting to unravel a little bit. And as we keep tugging at that thread, more and more information is going to start to surface. And hopefully this congressional hearing that they are demanding for takes place so that this shady, corrupt military base can get shut down once and for all. There is just too much happening there, and it is just too shady. And unfortunately, now that base has now claimed one more life. How many people are we going to allow this base to blatantly murder and cover up? That is my question. How many? When is enough? I'll keep you guys updated as I learn more. I'm sure more information is going to get released later this afternoon and evening and into the following days. So I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know. And please discuss. I'm interested to know. What are your thoughts? Do you think that they caught the right guy, it's Aaron Robinson, and the Army did a good thing by catching him? Do you think it was a happy coincidence that he finally got named and caught and now is dead? Do you think it could possibly be a cover-up and he is the fall guy since he technically was her supervisor? Or that he really was guilty, but they killed him rather than suicide because they didn't want him talking and exposing more military base secrets? Who knows? I mean, literally, the opportunities for the shadiness here are endless. So please discuss below. I would love to get some dialogue going with you guys. And as always, if you enjoyed listening to this case, please hit that little subscribe button below and subscribe to my channel and like, comment, share, review. I would love to get your feedback. And until next time. All right, thanks guys.